Lauren, how destructive has Typhoon Yagi been in Vietnam?
Well, Yvonne, the death toll has been climbing all day, unfortunately, but the latest from state media in Vietnam is that 59 people have been killed and hundreds more have been injured. The typhoon struck Vietnam. It made landfall on Saturday afternoon around 1:30, and it brought with us these winds of up to 200 kilometres an hour, which just tore the roofs from buildings, tore trees up, destroyed infrastructure and whipped up these massive waves which just tossed boats into the sea. And some of the stories that are emerging are just harrowing. I mean, you mentioned some at the top of the program. A bus carrying about 20 people was just swept into one of these swollen rivers, and a major bridge also collapsed into the Red River, and there were cars and trucks and motorbikes which just plunged into that river. Most of the people were rescued from that, but there are still people missing, which is really devastating. And as well as the human toll, this has had major implications for the region's infrastructure. These provinces in Vietnam's north, which were hardest hit, are major industrial hubs. They house factories for some huge brands like LG, some of the suppliers to Apple. So some of that damage is likely to cause major economic impacts into the future. And there was also a big impact on telecommunications infrastructure and power networks. The state-owned power company says something like 5.7 million people lost power. They say that 75% of that's now been restored, but the damage and the clean-up is likely to take much, much longer in that country.
Lauren, prior to these, Yagi left a trail of destruction across China and the Philippines. They're still trying to recover from the damage.
That's right. Typhoon Yagi is the most powerful storm that Asia has seen this year, and it's actually the second most powerful that the world has seen after Cyclone Beryl. Before making landfall in Vietnam, it started, of course, in the Philippines about a week ago, where it just absolutely wreaked havoc there and killed about 20 people. It then intensified, it doubled in strength before making its way to the Chinese island of Hainan, which is a really popular tourist destination. It's known as China's Hawaii. And despite the fact that authorities had managed to evacuate hundreds of thousands of people from their homes, 4 people were killed on that island, and there's been a massive damage to infrastructure there as well, something like $100 million worth of damage to infrastructure in Hainan. But I'd say by far the worst destruction has been done in Vietnam, and particularly the north of the country. So that's likely where attention will fall. And as I mentioned, the clean-up will take a long, long time.
Well, the typhoon has now been downgraded. Is it still dangerous?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not over yet. It was downgraded to a tropical depression yesterday, but authorities are still warning that there are big risks of flooding, of landslides, of further heavy rainfall as it moves west, and it's likely to impact even more of the region. It may even have impacts in places like Thailand, where I am now, so it's not over yet. And of course, whenever there are storms like this, there are those ongoing risks of buildings collapsing, trees falling down, landslides, electrocution. So unfortunately, it is possible that that death toll that I mentioned, the 59 people killed in Vietnam, is likely to rise. And of course, scientists say that typhoons like this are becoming stronger, they're becoming more frequent, largely due to climate change and those warmer seas which add energy to storm systems like this and whip up those huge winds and massive rainfall. So unfortunately, we're likely to see more scenes like this into the future.
Lauren, thank you.